James had always believed that life with Sarah was like a fairy tale. They had been married for 5 years, having met in college, where their shared love for literature sparked an instant connection. Together, they built a life filled with love, laughter, and mutual respect. But life, James would soon learn, had a way of throwing unexpected curveballs. It was a crisp autumn morning when James first noticed the change in Sarah. She seemed distant, her usual sparkling eyes clouded with an unspoken burden. She was spending more time on her phone, whispering conversations into the receiver, and often coming home late with vague excuses about work. James, though concerned, trusted her implicitly. After all, trust was the foundation of their relationship. One evening, curiosity got the better of him. As Sarah was in the shower, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. The name Ethan flashed on the screen. A chill ran down James's spine. Ethan was a colleague of Sarah's, someone she had mentioned in passing. The message preview read, "I miss you." James felt a lump form in his throat, but he told himself it must be a misunderstanding. Days turned into weeks, and Sarah's behavior only became more suspicious. The emotional distance between them grew, and James's anxiety gnawed at him. He decided to follow her after work one day. His heart pounded as he watched Sarah leave her office and drive to a quaint cafe on the outskirts of town. James parked his car and walked to the window, where he saw Sarah with Ethan, their heads close together, sharing a moment that seemed far too intimate for just friends. James's world shattered. He stumbled back to his car, tears blurring his vision. The woman he loved more than anything was cheating on him. The betrayal was a knife to his heart, and he felt an overwhelming mix of anger, sadness, and confusion. Why? Why would she do this to them? James confronted Sarah that night. His voice trembled as he recounted what he had seen. Sarah's face drained of color, and she broke down, confessing everything. She admitted that she had been feeling neglected, that their once vibrant connection had faded into routine and complacency. Ethan had been there to listen, to make her feel alive again. "I didn't mean for it to go this far," she sobbed. "I never wanted to hurt you, James. I'm so sorry." James felt a storm of emotions. He wanted to scream, to lash out, but seeing Sarah so broken, he found himself aching for the love they once shared. He walked out, needing space to think. The next few days were a blur of pain and soul-searching. He spent nights on friends' couches, contemplating the life they had built and the dreams they had shared. One night, as he sat by the river where he and Sarah had their first date, James realized that despite the betrayal, he still loved her. Their relationship was worth fighting for. But he needed Sarah to understand the depth of his hurt and the seriousness of her actions. He decided to see a marriage counselor, hoping they could rebuild their fractured relationship. James approached Sarah with the idea. She agreed, tears streaming down her face, clinging to the hope that they could mend what was broken. Their first few sessions were difficult, with raw emotions and painful truths laid bare. Sarah apologized repeatedly, expressing her deep remorse and commitment to making things right. James shared his feelings of betrayal and his fears for their future. Slowly, through counseling, they began to understand each other better. James realized that he had taken Sarah for granted, becoming complacent in their relationship. Sarah recognized that her actions had been a cry for help, but also a betrayal of their vows. They learned to communicate openly, to express their needs and fears without judgment. One evening, after months of hard work and soul-searching, they revisited the cafe where James had first discovered the affair. This time, they sat together, holding hands, talking about their journey. It was a symbolic gesture, a way of reclaiming a place of pain and transforming it into a place of healing. James looked into Sarah's eyes, now filled with the familiar sparkle he had missed. "I forgive you," he said softly, "but trust will take time to rebuild. I need you to be patient with me, with us." Sarah nodded, tears of relief and gratitude streaming down her cheeks. "I understand. And I will do whatever it takes to make things right." Their journey was far from over, but they were on the path to healing. They rediscovered their love for each other, built on a foundation of renewed trust and open communication. James and Sarah made a promise to never let complacency creep into their relationship again. They learned to cherish each other, to prioritize their marriage, and to always be honest, no matter how difficult it might be. Years later, as they sat on their porch watching the sunset, James reflected on their journey. The betrayal had almost destroyed them, but it had also led to a deeper, more resilient love. They had faced the storm together, and come out stronger on the other side. Their story, once marred by pain and betrayal, had transformed into one of forgiveness, growth, and unwavering love. In the end, James realized that love was not just about the fairy tale moments, but about weathering the storms together and coming out stronger. And as he held Sarah close, he knew that their love story was more beautiful than any fairy tale. Because it was real, imperfect, and deeply, profoundly human.